they've made that change. Obviously, Lethal, they were a lot more structured. They were a little bit slower paced. Then Renegade comes in, and you can't really have that same play style. Renegade forces the issue. He pushes forward, and he needs the backup. And because of that, it frees up players like Frosty. He can get in there, bag and tag along with Renegade, and that's exactly what he needed. Maybe an extra player just to take some of that weight off his shoulders in terms of slaying power.
Yeah, I mean, Frosty had to do a lot at times, and I mean, you see him on your screen there, one of the best to do it, but adding Renegade, who arguably some said was the best player in Halo Infinite. I mean, he was one of the best players in Halo 5 as well. Incredible talent to be able to add to this roster, and it does create for a very scary FaZe clan. There's another look at the series layout. If you missed it a little bit earlier on, we start with Oddball Streets. We go Slayer Livefire, we go CTF Empyrean, King of the Hill Livefire, and then Slayer Aquarius. So it is going to be an interesting one. If we were to get all the way to a Game 5, I mean, FaZe Clan have been one of the best Slayer teams at this event. Not just this event, but they're also one of the best Slayer events at Dallas. Their Game 5 potential, their Game 7 potential was unbelievable. They didn't lose any of those games where they had to try and clutch up the series. So that would be a worry for me for Cloud9. If you even got to Game 5, would you be able to ice up against the iciest team?
And I think Game 3 in this series is actually really important. CTF Empyrean is actually a very difficult game type for FaZe Clan. They have been struggling on that game type. We've seen them lose to the likes of SSG, to Optic Gaming. So they are not perfect, and that is a problem map for them right there, then and there. So Cloud9 could pinch map number 3.
Well, one of the things I love about Empyrean being back in Halo Infinite and the Pit being back in Halo Infinite is this a mapping mode that people have played for the last 15 years. Everyone should know how to play it at this point, which means you really have to dig deep and find some of those old routes, but there are new ways to try and play this map. There are new angles you can take as well, and new abilities that you can use, especially being able to just force push someone off the map when they've got the overshield, for example. I say force push because you always say force push, and it
That's what reminds me of it.
Always makes me giggle a little bit, but it looks like players are now starting to get a little bit locked and loaded, and we're getting a little bit closer. Thank you so much for bearing with us whilst we sort out this delay. But I do think this is going to be one of those series that could go one of two ways. I think this will either be a 3-0 to FaZe, or suddenly Cloud9 are going to really surprise them, come out, win the first game, and then we'll be left scratching our heads a little bit and saying, okay, how far does this go for Cloud9?
And it is something that FaZe Clan have been guilty of in the past, is going to Game 5 against teams that they maybe didn't expect to. We've seen it last event against the likes of Hive, who are now G1. They are capable of dropping the ball here and there. If they're not motivated and they're not hitting their shots right off the rip, teams like this can punish them.
Well, I will say, spoiler alert.
I'm listening.
You and I have casted a lot of Halo Infinite in the last
don't let people
I just want to let people know.
Oh, okay.
We've casted like 17 series.
17.
16 of those series have been 3-0s.
Yes.
Just letting everyone know now, so whoever wins this first game...
He's probably winning the whole
thing. They
thing.
might win the whole thing, but thank you so much, everyone. It looks like we are locked, we are loaded, we are going to get into this series. It's FaZe Clan versus Cloud9. It's Oddball Streets, and I cannot wait.
This game's been in the oven for quite some time, but we're almost ready to start cooking. FaZe Clan up against Cloud9 in our winners semi-finals. Up for grabs, a ticket in winners finals and an opportunity to head towards that grand finals with the chance of a bracket reset, with the insurance policy of the bracket reset. It's going to be a big, big game with many implications on what way this tournament's going to shake out. On board with SnakeBite, shields up, weapons hot, we're on our way.
And that is the easiest rocket pickup I've ever seen. 1-2, just like that. Buckle my shoe. Picks up the ball but will go down, but that is a hot start from FaZe Clan.
Renegade then on trash. Perhaps here's someone above him. Slid past him. I don't think he's quite seen him. He's right next door to him, but somehow Renegade almost, hold on, almost takes down Sceptify, despite the fact he didn't know he was there. SnakeBite will clean up the kill though. 3v3 on the map, and only 4 seconds of ball time as it stands. But a very cagey start. It looks as though FaZe Clan had the perfect start off the rip, getting those rockets, but not able to put it into any significant score on the board.
And I think if you are Cloud9 here, you want to be as unpredictable as possible. You want to try and push yourself in several different areas of the map just to try and disrupt FaZe Clan, but all 4 go down for C9. Now they get the first real chance to set up properly here. Royalty will have the ball. It's going to be a back tower setup. You just need to make sure you've got people watching the right angles. But Sceptify has been able to creep through. 2 have gone down, and Cloud9 have done well to break this setup before it could ever really get going.
Drop ball goes down just to provide some cover. Sceptify is on hand to shoot that. Great experience play. Rammyy will get the kill. Bulldog will do a little bit of damage, but not enough to get the kill. Rammy's down to no shields on the L. gets cleaned up. Trades left, right, and center. Ball's been scooped up and thrown towards back tower. Renegade throws a couple of spike grenades, trying to predict the movement. Sceptify's alone in Cafe, down to no shields now, thanks to some damage from Renegade, who's forced to back away as Cloud9 are setting up here and are prepared for the siege.
Yeah, but Rammy's just gone down, and that's just going to open up the floodgates now, you'd feel, for FaZe to make the push. And oh, it's great positioning from Renegade, listening to his teammates, making sure that he can finish off that damage. All four temporarily down for C9, and again, it's a chance for FaZe Clan to set up. With the rockets coming up in 5, this was the perfect time to get all 4 members down.
How detrimental will this be to the Cloud9 cause? Can they break the setup? Rocket's about to pop, and that could be enough just to turn the attentions of FaZe Clan, to drop the ball, and perhaps pay a little bit more closely attention to those rockets.
You could see just the info that Renegade was trying to gather, just popping up his head, seeing if anyone was on the rockets, was anyone pushing out of tram, could I get eyes on, can I feed any extra information? It's more than just holding the ball for anyone here on FaZe. They want to be helping as much as possible as Renegade walks through a rocket and says, you know what, screw you, I don't even care if you've got heavy weapons, as Sceptify will at least picked up the one remaining rocket.
How many players in the league sees a rocket player and thinks, I'm going to jump towards you and not run away? Renegade, such is the confidence of the man taking the fight on. Rocket though, Sceptify locks in 2, 3 dead momentarily for Cloud9. FaZe Clan, with the help of SnakeBite and the Stalker Rifle, looking to put a little bit more breathing space between them and the boys in blue.
I mean, when was the last time that SnakeBite was the leading player in the league for highest KD at a tournament? I know he's always impressive, but it's usually the Lucids, the Renegades of the world. SnakeBite usually commended for his objective play, but he has done absolutely everything for his team, and maybe just taking FaZe to another level as Nemassist. Perhaps the next player, it's the perfect reversal, and the Stalker Rifle doing damage.
SnakeBite, cook it. Sceptify trying to help his teammate, although 2 of them have ended up in the black screen. So he's helped them all right, helped them take him away. Ball in the hands of FaZe Clan once more as they just about tip over the 40-second threshold here. Spawn's coming over towards Red Room. There will be an engagement towards Underpass if FaZe Clan can spot it out, get the information. SnakeBite's situated over towards Commando here. Down to no shields. Rammy's going to look for the challenge. SnakeBite's in big trouble, but somehow gets the kill. And when kills like that go against you, you start to think maybe the game will go against you.
Royal2 just being patient here. Baits out perfectly, and the Bulldog starts to bark. Should be able to pick up 2. And it's as easy as that. Stays alive and still has the Bulldog to work with. You can see Rammyy was trying to get the angle from stairs, but just couldn't quite see Royal2. Gets his shields back, but eventually goes down. 50-0 lead at the moment for FaZe, and they still are finding ball time. Cloud9 just haven't really been able to get a grasp on that ball whatsoever. FaZe rotating it away from them, tossing it out when they go down, and also winning so many engagements to make it awkward for C9.
Triton making that a very difficult kill for Frosty, and he manages to secure it as well. 54-0, score remains. Renegade will back Triton down. She slips away to B stairs. 3 seconds of ball time have been amassed, not a lot, but it's a little. Eyes trained on rockets. Bottom middle, Renegade another 1v1 with Triton. Both players forced to back down. Down to no shields. Frosty scooped up the rockets, the boombox over the shoulder, and here comes the pain.
And FaZe outslaying them by 13 kills at the moment. Rammyy, last remaining player. It's close to being all 4 dead again, but Rammyy will hold strong and make sure he takes down 2 of his own. It means it's not going to be a comfortable setup for FaZe, and quite rightly, Frosty says, you know what, you have the ball, I've got the rockets, I'll go have a little headhunt here and see what I can do. Now, it's an awkward push here for C9 because they have to go down pink, but they know there is rockets somewhere on the map, so they don't want to leave themselves too exposed to any sort of splash damage.
Great trigger discipline from Frosty here as he manages to get 2 in total. 3 dead. Last guy's ball guy. Rammyy in a 1v1 looking for the trade. Soaring forward, jumps over his head. It was messy, it was dicey, but it was a trade nonetheless. Ball scooped up by Renegade, and they continue to amount this scrappy time, which is not something we typically have seen from them. Oh,
sometimes FaZe Clan can maybe be one of those teams who tries too hard to get the perfect setup and won't play the scrappiness, but perhaps recognizing what they're going against in Cloud9, who might go for a little bit more of a different play style, might go for that scrappy time. Sometimes you're going to play what's in front of you, as Triton will take him down. But with only 45 seconds left, C9 are running out of time to get any sort of setup here, and FaZe are just keeping that ball away from them as best they can.
At what point do FaZe just play Slayer? Royal2 will hold the ball for now, though, requiring 25. Rockets in 5 seconds as well. Rammy's gotten a pick onto SnakeBite. The push could come down bottom middle along with those rockets. Royal2 recognizing that, thinking about getting himself out of trouble really quickly. First rocket will be baited out. Second one will find a home onto the body of SnakeBite. All the time they get these kills, ball remains in FaZe Clan territory.
Yeah, and if FaZe are outslaying Cloud9 this heavily, it's just so impossible for C9 to get any sort of ball time whatsoever. Rammyy tries as he might to stop the ball from getting away, but now it's just going to be in a position at Trash, which is going to be near impossible for C9 to grab, because now FaZe can watch it from so many different angles.
Down on Garbage, Nemassist trying to make the move. Not successful. Triton, though, will trade him out. Can they get a touch on the ball? Very quickly running out of time here, and nobody seems to be going for it. We could see a ball reset before we even get hands on it. Ball down on Trash, nobody there to pick it up. Thankfully, for the FaZe Clan faithful, they go 1-0 up in the round, and you're a little bit baffled by that.
I mean, I just watched Triton pick up the Stalker Rifle rather than run to try and pick up the ball. That was a very clear decision that he made, and perhaps just communication issue for the team and not recognizing they needed to get the ball, but I think that's an interesting one, almost accepting defeat in round 1 from C9. They need to be a little bit quicker at shutting down these setups from FaZe Clan, but when they're getting outslayed this heavily, it's incredibly difficult.
4 dead for a moment for Cloud9. That gives Renegade the opportunity to go hunting for fresh spawners. Tram looks to be where the Cloud9 boys are situated for now. Nemassist thinking about dropping Garbage, sitting on commando ledge here for the moment. First rocket will find a home, will connect. Rammy's in trouble as well. Shroud screen goes down, and Renegade slips away under the cover of darkness.
It's one of the things that FaZe are so good at, isn't it? They can just avoid battles when they need to and then re-engage at the right time. And not only re-engage against anyone, but against a Bulldog, and then getting a Bulldog as your prize. And it just means things are going to go from bad from worse here for Cloud9. They got the opening time, 2 seconds. Stalker Rifle also gets ripped away from them. FaZe have got all the tools they will need to get set up here.
FaZe currently outslaying Cloud9 by 20 kills. Killing spree for Renegade. This one slows down for a moment. Almost guilty of enjoying themselves too much, our FaZe Clan here. Cloud9 have been unable to find an answer to the pressure that FaZe have been putting down. Bulldog to the back and a melee to the spine. And Renegade once more slips away. He's enjoying himself.
Yeah, you can tell that he recognizes when he's going to die and immediately tries to escape. Even if he will go down, he knows that he is playing a higher risk game by trying to escape and getting a higher reward for doing so, because now look at what happens in the passenger play afterwards. Even Renegade had a little pop-off there, and oh my god, shouting across main stage because he used his pillar to the best effect.
It's one thing for that to happen to Nemassist, but you know, the rest of his teammates seen that happen too. And Renegade lets out a roar, a battle cry. And Royal 2 as comfortable as you like back here with the ball in hand.
Yeah, a lot of time so far for Royal 2. I mean, for so much of SnakeBite being called an objective player across his career, he's not been the ball guy. He's been the guy who's been slaying this tournament. But in this game, it's been Renegade who's taken the plaudits for how many slays. The Sceptify picks up a couple of kills. Frosty's in the middle of the map. All 4 go down for FaZe, and this is Cloud9's best opportunity now to get an actual setup here at Tram. They just need to make sure they don't overextend too much over towards Arcade and get caught out.
Ball in hand, the former Fnatic man Sceptify finds himself back where he will feel he belongs, on the main stage. Fighting against some of the heavyweights of the Halo World Championship Series. Triton goes down, as does Nemassist. SnakeBite picks up a kill in the feed. It's bag and tag as FaZe Clan continue to roll. Baiting and switching, more kills go in favor. Cloud9 are cannon fodder right now.
Yeah, I think Triton tried to be clever, tried to go for a flank, went through Arcade, got behind FaZe, but FaZe just moved down Pink and then comfortably walked and strolled up the stairs. And 3 went down for C9, and Triton was left with his hands in his pockets, kind of wondering what went wrong a little bit.
Oh, how was he living?
Danger sometimes of going for the flank. And Renegade just seems to be unkillable at times.
I'm convinced Renegade has more shields. I promise you, I die immediately to these things. He's diffy. Rammyy gets a kill. But again, they run straight into guns, trained over towards B rails. Royal 2, Bulldog in the pocket, waiting for 2 members to push him towards Cafe. He'll isolate 1. Can he slip away? The answer is yes, and somehow, someway, even Royal 2 survives.
Nemassist goes down, and for what I said earlier, Nemassist was leading the slays for his team throughout this tournament. Not having the best of games right now, 7-23. FaZe have been able to pick him off time and time again. Does have 11 assists, so he is still putting the damage down. Just hasn't been a comfortable one for him, but I think that FaZe have made it uncomfortable for the entire C9 roster. Only Rammyy at the moment going positive. Not that the stats matter too much, but it does give you an indication of how comfortable FaZe Clan are on this map right now.
FaZe Clan making a statement here against Cloud9 thus far. SnakeBite with rockets. Connects. Soars forward. Looking for one more. Rammyy shoots him in the back. Sceptify goes down. 2 dead for Cloud9. And Renegade scoops up the ball once more. FaZe Clan continue to score.
I will say Cloud9 have done well at not allowing FaZe to get that ideal setup. We've not really seen FaZe just gather 80 seconds at once. It has been more of a scrappy one where FaZe have been killing as they move the ball. It's why we've had slower games. It's why the clock has come into the equation both times. But Sceptify also gets taken down. And now FaZe are going to have this ball over towards PD. Rammyy should fall. Although Rammy's doing so well to stay alive and trying to do a Renegade of himself, dancing around the pillar. And that's going to be a good spawn for C9 as well to try and be a nuisance to Royal 2.
So far, FaZe has just been like a hot knife through butter. Cloud9 roster unable to match the firepower so far. 63 seconds to 23. A very sizable lead in favor of FaZe Clan. As Royal 2 gets tagged in the back by the Sentinel beam. Fires off a couple of shots while he jiggle peeks. Will get taken down eventually. Tries to cling onto the wall of the cafe, but that's not a playable area for the body. Sceptify has his hands on ball, looking for a tower set up here.
Here comes the 3-man push though, down pink. Frosty's taking a lot of damage, and the nades now have been used by C9. If FaZe Clan just wait for those shields to come back up, they can start to push, knowing full well that nades won't be a factor, and it's just going to be a straight-out gun battle. But Cloud9 are doing well to watch their angles here. They've made it very difficult for FaZe to push, and that's the best hold we've seen so far from Cloud9. They need to get some ball time off it, though.
Good hold. Need more of that. Add it to your basket. Put it in your cart. Check out. 23 seconds. Huh?
Any more?
I'll find some.
Okay.
1 minute remaining on the clock, though. One go down. Renegade, the first pick. It's been traded out, though. Some more trades in around bottom middle. There's 3 down for FaZe Clan. An opportunity then for Cloud9 to build and eat away at this lead. Bulldog, though, Royal 2 cuts down 2 with a double kill. Ball played down bottom middle. Triton looking to engage this 1v1, and that's going to be traded as well.
Cloud9 have definitely done a lot better in the last couple of minutes, getting back into this game, getting it closer. They're within 20, but they're also being outslayed by plus 20 right now. I think it's any sort of game where you're getting outslayed by that much, the objective isn't really going to follow, so we need to see an all 4 dead from Cloud9, one last setup maybe, but FaZe Clan are just going to watch this ball with only 15 seconds remaining.
Rammyy is forced to back up, put it in reverse, 2 down. Triton and Nemassist to watch their teammates try and scramble away with the ball. Rammyy survives over towards the L, not for long though. That grenade will spin up, hit him in the visor. Ball starting to rotate now as it's back tower. Royal 2 will kill the ball carrier for now. Nemassist stands him up, plants his feet, and Royal 2 says no! 1 second remains, and FaZe Clan will take game 1.
It was comfortable for them. They outslayed them by almost 30 kills in the end at FaZe. At all times, they knew exactly where they wanted that ball to go. They knew exactly where C9 were going to be spawning. And C9 weren't able to really disrupt the strategy of FaZe Clan like we thought they might by being a little bit more unpredictable. I think Cloud9 got a little bit lost at times. I think there was a couple of players who maybe aren't quite living up to the occasion. Perhaps the lights are getting to them just ever so slightly, but their nerves should settle now as they get into this series. I mean, we've seen players who have been able to get so many kills throughout this tournament, then get what, like Nemassist got 10 kills. I think he went -20 in that game. Nemassist is a player who can live up to the best of expectations, who has been on the main stage before, but just really struggled to get going there in streets.
I think Nemassist has that sort of playstyle where if you're losing, he will look really bad. But if you can start to put him in a position where he can play the objective a little bit more, play those rotations, read the game a little bit better, that's where you'll see the best of him.
I do think, though, that Nemassist isn't scared of going big neg.
No.
And we saw him constantly challenging, constantly trying to push the narrative of, we can beat this team. No, we should be challenging them. We should be trying to take the fight to them. But he lost a few individual engagements, maybe wasn't helped out by a couple of teammates. I think that C9 played a little bit scared in that first map. And hopefully they've learned a lot in map number 1, and they just need to take a long, hard look at each other and say, guys, let's stop playing like that. Let's start playing a little bit more like we believe in ourselves and we can win some of these 1v1s. I saw them backing down from fights that they wouldn't have backed down for so far in this tournament, but I think just because it's FaZe, they don't believe they can win the engagements at times. Yeah,
they allowed themselves to get overrun at times in that game number 1, and they're almost playing the names on the screen rather than playing the occasion. If that's matchmaking, if that's any other player, you can outshoot them. If you shoot them, they will die. But maybe Renegade won't. I've seen him do some crazy things.
As you say, extra shields for Renegade, it seems. Game 2, Slayer Livefire. And Cloud9, so far this tournament, they have had a loss on Slayer Livefire. It's been a 3-0 record, though, for FaZe Clan, as you can see on your screen. They've been very impressive, not just on Livefire, but Slayers in general. I mean, look at that from SnakeBite and Renegade, a 1.55 and a 1.34 KD for the two of them in the damage difference. I mean, I'm very impressed with what FaZe Clan have done and the fact that they haven't really faulted against anyone so far. It's not like they've looked like they are going to be average at any game mode. They seem to be more well-drilled. It was something I was talking about at the end of last tournament and leading into this tournament. The consistency of the top 3 teams across every single map and mode. FaZe don't seem to have that many weaknesses.
And that was a criticism of this team in the past, where they were not consistent. But with the addition of Renegade, they're starting to find that playstyle that suits all of the occasions. And we're starting to see the best of Renegade and indeed SnakeBite.
And then just looking at this graphic one more time, I mean, Nemassist has the most damage. You can see the KD that he's had when it comes to Slayers on Livefire as well. That's not the player that we just saw on Streets, and I think he'll know that now. And sometimes you do need a bit of a kick up the backside to say, all right, I wasn't good enough in game 1, and that just lights a fire, and suddenly you explode into something. We might see Nemassist just run a train through FaZe Clan here in game number 2. So it'll be interesting to see whether he can build himself back up, or whether we're going to see more shenanigans from that man on your screen, Renegade. I mean, that one particular kill where he was dancing around pillars, that was something special.
Will Nemassist bounce back, because Cloud9 need him here in game number 2 as we head into the Slayer? Or will FaZe Clan double their series lead and almost have one foot in the door of winners finals? Like you say, for Cloud9, it's just about having that confidence and belief that you belong here.
Yeah, and it's hard to have that belief, I think, when you've had such a crazy run and you know full well that you have somewhat overachieved so far this tournament. You just have to push those thoughts to one side and say, look, when else are we going to get the opportunity to maybe play FaZe Clan for top 3 on main stage? Let's make the most of it and let's put on a good show and at least prove that we deserve to be here. And it can happen right now in a Slayer. We've seen Slayers go the way of the lower seeded teams time and time again. Cloud9, it's your time to step up.
Game 2, rocking and rolling. Heat wave for Renegade, and he's already on the hunt. Finds an enemy, finds a victim, but it's going to be traded out this time. 2-1 the score after the early engagements. Heat wave in the hands of Rammyy. This has got eyes on bottom middle, perhaps looking to be an influence on this overshield. Is there anybody on FaZe Clan that'll step in between the crosshairs? Drops down onto a Shoryuken. And Renegade gets handled.
And even though Rammyy, of course, wants to be looking at this overshield, he also has that heat wave, and he has an important role, because as soon as he gets rid of that heat wave ammo and drops it down, the timing will start, and that's what is going to be very important in this game, to keep control of the sandbox. Let your teammates know when that heat wave is going to be coming up. Let your coach know when the heat wave is going to be coming up. And also the overshield, he does manage to get it into his teammates' hands, but Renegade, look at what he's doing. He's just, again, being such a nuisance from top tower, but it does eventually fall.
Renegade had so many guns on him that time. Had the attentions of almost the entire Cloud9 roster, including the overshield player, who's now down to half shield, so not really able to get the kind of advantage they want. And Frosty says, see you later, pal. Into the drink, splish splash, you're taking a bath.
Again, it's something else you have to manage here on Livefire. Make sure you're getting that repulsor. It can be so effective when you're over towards tower or towards green, or even just sometimes deflecting those grenades away at times. Nemassist has his hands on the sniper rifle then, does get the body shot onto Renegade, and it's going to be a great assist. And I think Nemassist could do with a couple of kills just to get his confidence back up here in game number 2.
Sniper rifle could be the perfect way to do just that. SnakeBite will receive a little bit of damage from the heat wave. The second one almost fired as his body hit the floor. Will connect, find a home. SnakeBite is taken care of. Renegade now, though, with sniper rifle in hand. And look how pretty that thing is.
It's very pretty. Only 2 bullets, though, but I've seen Renegade put these bullets to good use time and time again. Here's victim number 1. Rammyy does take a bullet, but Sceptify is there alongside him to make sure he gets the grenade. Here's the next overshield then. FaZe are in position to grab it this time. SnakeBite does not get taken out of the air. And even though FaZe find themselves 4 kills down, with the overshield, this could very quickly turn in their favor.
Be so frustrating when you're in that position that Triton was on tower. You're watching overshield and you know, unless somebody else is there standing with another gun, that player's probably going to get the overshield, and SnakeBite secures it for his team. Now just 2 kills required to tie us up.
You saw there SnakeBite just taking a glance at his teammate's screen, trying to work out where players are going to be going. One of the benefits of playing on LAN, and also something that SnakeBite always says he loves to do, sits close enough so he can watch all those screens. Very old school style of playing Halo, of course. Getting all that extra info without the communication as the stick comes through. Close, but Sceptify at least gets the melee.
You'll notice SnakeBite always sits somewhat in the middle of his team, and I'm pretty sure his eyeballs act individually of one another. They can look at different screens, they can go up, down, left and right, individual of one another. Triton down to no shields. Nemassist standing on the OS podium. He also receives a couple of shots for his troubles. Triton challenges, as does Nemassist. Damage was done, trades come through. A 4-kill game, Cloud9 just putting a little bit of breathing space between the two.
Yeah, Cloud9 are doing well to keep this game quite sporadic. It's all over the place at the moment, and FaZe don't really know where to go. One of the things that FaZe do very well when they're playing Slayer is they'll get 2 down, and then they will hunt and find those remaining 2 players, and they'll keep the spawn staggered. Cloud9 haven't allowed that to happen. Every time Cloud9 have lost a player or 2, they've been able to hide away and escape FaZe Clan's grips, and it means that FaZe have not been able to continue to snowball and gain control.
Cloud9 keeping this one a dogfight. Keeping it uncomfortable. And right now, they're ahead by 2. Triton's faded to black, though. I'll have to watch his teammates survive without him for a moment. Renegade has isolated Rammyy and secured the kill for his team. 1 just separates us now. And 10 seconds before the next overshield. This overshield here could be massive.
And you can see both teams are more than happy to slow this game down as well. Renegade falls, Overshield's going to be popping. Cloud9 should be able to maybe get into a position to grab it, but Frosty's also being a nuisance in the moment. Just is very vulnerable to the bounce up of grenades here.
The Iceman trying to survive. Pops the Overshield, and immediately Cloud9 begin to run. They turn tail, recognizing they've lost that engagement. Prediction the grenade goes down. Nemassist will take half the Overshield away. And Frosty begins to pinch. Does he have the teammates on hand? Close enough here. All 3 members face Cloud9, or Cloud9 face Frosty and eliminate him from the equation.
And both teams are doing it so well. They're running around in packs, whether they're running at people or running away from people. They are holding hands at all times, trying to slow this game down whenever they can. I mentioned it before this series started. These are 2 of our slower Slayer teams that we have in the league. On average, Cloud9 Slayer games take 9 minutes 40. For FaZe Clan, 9 minutes 39. They get it done 1 second faster, and we'll have to see whether it's going to be close to that here on Slayer Live Fire.
And we asked for Nemassist to bounce back and have a better game. Currently sitting at 6-6-4. It was 6-3 before that death. 2 kills separate the teams right now, and for all we know, they could be Nemassists. As SnakeBite patrols top middle. Puts a few more bullets in the gun. Has a peek of Heatwave, trying to get the timer on it. Nemassist down to no shields now. As SnakeBite begins to move and groove elsewhere. And a melee, an anger or celebration. One of the 2. As he now waits patiently top middle or impatiently.
He's also keeping an eye on that heat wave as well, just relaying that to the team. It's something they're going to be keeping their eyes on. Sniper up in 25-2. Cloud9 is saying, though, you've got to come to us. We're more than happy to wait, but SnakeBite manages to somehow kill Nemassist, and now they're going to have the player advantage so they can take control of this side of the map and really push the narrative here to Cloud9 and say, actually, if you want to sit back, we'll take the space. But they are waiting, and the ambush was ready, and it really did surprise SnakeBite.
Sceptify is sitting in the corner like a turret. SnakeBite, the victim. As now Overshield looks as though it will be scooped up by Cloud9. Royal 2 will try and make it a more difficult task and perhaps could be successful here. Sceptify jumps up, picks it up, pops it into the chest, and now immediately runs forward. Royal 2 still positioned top tower, Overshield completely gone.
Yeah, that's one thing that you have a benefit of if you are all eyes trained on the Overshield. If you're very aware they're going to be picking it up, you can quickly deplete it and almost negate it instantly, but Cloud9 at least stop it from going in FaZe Clan's hands. That's very important, as 2 members of FaZe try as they might to just kill 1 player together, and they do achieve said kill. But Renegade still doing damage bottom middle, and every single time you turn a corner at FaZe Clan, there seems to be another member just there waiting to support or to get that trade, but they still find themselves 4 kills down.
There's a lull. As both teams jostle for position here before the next Overshield. Sniper rifle in the distance, popping off shots, but not finding any faces as of yet. Rammy's behind enemy lines. He's got a bit of a pinch here, and Sceptify is on hand to clean up the pieces of the damage that Rammy's put down on Big Door. Renegade's caught in 2 mines, doesn't know whether to go left, go right, instead decides to go tower side. Rammy's got Heatwave, and he's cooking and booking. They only need 11 now.
Cloud9 have done so well to just keep 4 or 5 kills ahead through the majority of this game, excuse me. Although stats would suggest we've still got a couple of minutes left in this one if we're going to be getting the averages of what they've been playing so far this tournament. And Cloud9, they slow it down. They say, FaZe, what's your next move? Where are you going to move that next chess piece? Well, Nemassist has a sniper, though, to watch where those pieces might be coming from, and Renegade gets the opener. but Triton's there to get the trade. As long as Cloud9 can keep trading out here, they're going to be more than okay, and they're looking in good condition to try and take map 2 here.
I've actually heard a stat, Dan, that 100% of these games will end in the 9:39 or 9:40, and that's a Dan Gaskin stat guarantee. 5 kills.
A lot of people throwing out false stacks, and I love that, but I tell you what, nothing false about that snipe from Nemassist, who reinstates that 5-kill lead. 4 minutes remaining. Overshield pops, and Nemassist has bounced back. He had a poor game 1, but he's come to life here in map number 2.
Nemassist! Triple kill! They only need 3. It's showtime, and Nemassist is showing up and showing out right.
And all members of FaZe Clan, they're over towards green, and now here comes the pinch. Rammy's going to be on his way. Nemassist give the info, and the kill should just happen. And it looks like game 2 goes to Cloud9. The perfect response. We've got a series on our hands.
All tied up, 1-1. Before Nemassist even hit those shots, we could see he was having the game he needed.
He really did, and it takes a special player to go from going -20 in map 1 to having the confidence to take a game to a team like FaZe Clan in map number 2. Now the real question is, what does that do for the mentality of FaZe? Do they start to worry a little bit? It was looking smooth sailing in map number 1. They were in control, they were comfortable, they were out slaying like crazy, and then suddenly C9 really showed up in map number 2. They made it so difficult. Every single time FaZe wanted to take any control, Cloud9 had an answer, whether it will be watching the overshield, grabbing the overshield, or even just getting that sniper in an awkward position.
And just how important was it? Every single time FaZe Clan seemed to be building something, putting something together, Cloud9 remained 2 kills ahead, 4 kills ahead, and they had their nose in front every single interval of the game.
Yeah, they just didn't allow any sort of setup really from FaZe, and they also escaped FaZe's so many times. FaZe were hunting players. They were looking to try and pick up that final 2 to keep it on the spawn trap, and it just didn't work out for them. There was a lot of aggression that was quickly mitigated by players who just avoided said aggression. They just ran away from them. And it looked like they were running with their tails between their legs, but then as soon as they felt comfortable, they would turn onto FaZe Clan and almost catch them off guard.
Confirmation of what we've seen in our winners semi-finals. FaZe Clan 2-0 on Oddball Streets. Slayer Live Fire was game 2, 50-38. Cloud9 roar back into life, and CTF Empyrean is now on the horizon, which we spoke about has been a bit of a dodgy game, a little bit of kryptonite in the FaZe Clan armor.
It has, I mean, not this tournament, but some previous tournaments, that's for sure. It has maybe been a little bit of a chink in the armor, but for Cloud9, I think they'll look at how slow that Slayer Livefire game was, and you go into a CTF Imperium, which is a very slow game as well. It can really just be a paced game where you can assess where the spawns are going to be, where do you need to push. Okay, let's take a breather, let's play defense now instead of offense. I think C9 have a real opportunity here in map number 3.
Well, as downtrodden as they might have been in game 1 with how they got outrun, outmaneuvered, game 2 was very much a flip of the script. They kept themselves in front, not only remained competitive in the start and the mid game, but they pulled away at the end. It's
also another thing that I was mentioning about game types and some teams being weaker than others and FaZe not having that many weak game types. It could just be that Cloud9 haven't practiced Oddball Streets that much. They've not been a team long enough to really be able to practice all maps and modes strictly that they are 100% confident on them, and they might have just hit a dud in map number 1. It certainly looked that way with how poorly they performed, especially statistically, compared to how well they've been performing on everything else so far this tournament. So they did really well to brush that off going into map number 2 and come to life and just take the game to FaZe. And now going into map number 3, FaZe are just left asking the question of, all right, is this going to be one of these series where we're going to have to work even harder? It's not going to be an easy blowout now.
Will FaZe Clan have to dig deep? Cloud9 are not making this one easy. They're not going away without putting up a fight. They stand firmly in front of FaZe Clan here, putting themselves between them and the winners finals.
And it's even more impressive because it was a Slayer, and I know that, you know, Slayers sometimes are a 50-50 that some people say, but FaZe have been the Slayer team for the last 2 events. They hadn't lost one so far this tournament. They were one of the best Slayer teams in Dallas. They were always winning those game 5s. However, I will say it was a game 2 Slayer. If it does get to game 5, that's usually when FaZe do make their best efforts at taking the victory. But the fact that Cloud9 have beaten FaZe on a Slayer where FaZe have usually not faltered against anyone makes it even that extra bit special.
This series is now on a knife's edge. So we're all tied up. This next map is going to be pivotal. And which way this one swings. And will it be Cloud9 to cause an upset here and take the lead?
And one of the good things about going into an Empyrean game when you've just been hitting snipe shots is there is now 2 snipers on the map. If you give Nemassist that sniper, he could make life a living hell for FaZe Clan. What have we seen FaZe Clan get done to them when they are playing Empyrean CTF? They look like they're comfortable, they're making the push through, and then suddenly someone blames them from top tower, someone blames them from sword. It stops any sort of push, it stops any sort of attack, and you have to just go back to the drawing board and wait. It's frustrating when you've got someone on the other team hitting those snipe shots.
I think it was something we seen FaZe Clan against Sentinels yesterday. Is Spartan was hitting all those shots. Any single time a FaZe Clan member jumped up in the air, Spartan would find, whether it be a no-scope, a scope shot, would always find the face. They'd hit the deck. So they have faced this sort of thing before, but something that they can grow in confidence with is they still took the win in that map.
Well, yeah, and FaZe also have snipers on their team as well. I mean, you give any member on that squad the sniper rifle, they can do exactly the same thing to Cloud9. But what happens when you get a team who is a little bit of a higher seed, who is expecting to win, they will usually be the team who is going to be pushing the objective. They're going to be the ones attacking, and it's going to be C9 on the defense a little bit more, and then looking to countercap. So that's when it gets frustrating, when you're just getting blamed out of the air, and someone on the other team is just playing duck hunt.
There was rumblings.
Was there?
Murmurs.
Murmurs.
Of a Let's Go FaZe Clan down there.
Ooh, wow, okay.
Very faint.
The one FaZe Clan fan in the building.
One FaZe Clan passionate.
It's risky. I've heard those optic ultras, they'll be out to get.
Oh yeah. There's some hooligans in the crowd. Stay safe out there. But as we load into CTF on Empyrean, this one will move the needle, swing the pendulum in favor of one team or the other. Cloud9 answered some of the questions that were asked. Would they be down on confidence after game 1? The answer was no. Nemassist bounced back. Cloud9 bounced back, and we're underway here.
Wow, and FaZe have just completely given up on rockets, but that's why Royal 2, he baited it, and SnakeBite was waiting in the wings to swiftly pick them up. Perfectly executed starting strategy from FaZe Clan. I love it.
How much faith do you have to put into Royal 2 to hit that shot? Because you know, if he misses, SnakeBite's dead.
He is going to be so dead, a rocket right to the gooch for sure, but instead he picks it up and he is more than happy to have the rockets and gets 2 kills, all 4 dead for Cloud9, and SnakeBite just checking where those spawns are going to be, and actually that nade probably connected, did a little bit of damage. There's going to be 2 players over in the corner.
Sorry, rocket to the gooch.
Yeah, it would be the worst place to be hit.
That would be a bad spot to get hit by a rocket, I promise. Nemesis in the 1v1 though. SnakeBite will win that. Perfect. 4 shots. Renegade's got the flag on the move.
Triton, last remaining player. Does he have a sniper? Can he be the one to just try and stop and stem this flag from being run? SnakeBite says, you know what? Don't worry about it. I got you. He gets it down long haul. And this should be a capture as long as there's not going to be anyone on training, especially because Royal 2's got a snipe. Oh, okay. There's a little bit of a fumble. Royal 2 goes down, as does SnakeBite, but Renegade's there maybe to pick up the pieces.
Renegade on hand, trying to clear angles. Apply some pressure for anybody pushing forward. Sceptify gets melted by the assault rifle, and perhaps Sceptify, he let that kill get away. Nemassist will run into Renegade as well, who's just clearing house right now.
Notice how at no point did Renegade panic and go towards that flag. He knew his job was to do damage and to stop Cloud9 from getting to their side, as FaZe will react perfectly and go 1-0 up here on CTF Empyrean.
I think 4 FaZe Clan members have found their voice and one's whistling. Things are picking up. 1-0 to FaZe Clan now. The perfect start on Empyrean CTF. Very early doors here, but now potential for a counter cap if they're not too careful.
This is the perfect way to start the game, though, for FaZe, because by gaining the lead, they're now going to force Cloud9 to be the ones who have to try and push them. It's not going to be C9 sitting back, frustrating FaZe Clan. It's 0-0 until just a couple of minutes left, and then they get some sort of crazy counter cap. No, instead, FaZe can now just take control and really dictate the pace of this game. As Royal 2 behind enemy lines, he does see his teammates go down, so this is one of the downsides of flanking. If you don't make it work, if you don't do the damage here, you can leave your teammates quite vulnerable to getting taken down.
Cloud9 are forced now to be the aggressor in this game. With FaZe Clan having a 1-0 lead, Royal 2 did force a couple of members of Cloud9 to double back and clear him out, which meant his teammates could spawn back up, and Renegade scooped up the rockets to boot. A couple of rocket shots go down. Triton, though, somehow, some way, clawed the rockets out. Sniper rifle up in just under 10 seconds now. Nemassist down to no shields. Overshield player soars forward. Sceptify's got flag in hands, and looks like Cloud9 are looking to answer back here.
Yeah, 2 were down, and it looks like Sceptify with the extra shield should at least be able to get us into long haul, but someone needs to position themselves to stop those spawners from getting under bridge and making it awkward for him. This should be a cap here for C9 as 2 members go down.
2 down for C9. Anybody on hand to put down damage? The answer is no. Cloud9 right back in this thing.
That's huge for Cloud9, because again, now it says to FaZe Clan, all right, we are going to match you. We're not just going to roll over and show our bellies here. As Sceptify waits, he's patient, he wants to grab that sniper, but he knows. Eyes are probably trained and watching, but he manages to scoop it up, and now he can start sniping on himself, and just about survives.
Fires 1 shot, connects with the breadbasket of Frosty. Down to no shields. Nemassist there to clean up Royal 2. 2 members down for FaZe Clan. Now Cloud9 need to push forward. Press on these advantages. While FaZe Clan are a little bit disorientated, a little bit disjointed, this is the moment for Cloud9 to strike.
I like this from Sceptify though, take a different angle, but he gets the call that there's going to be players pushing onto his side, and he quickly doubles back. And that's something that FaZe Clan have been doing consistently in this game, is every time Cloud9 want to push up, FaZe are just making them second-guess themselves a little bit. Someone's there for the flank, the body shot does connect, but it's not enough for Sceptify. And FaZe Clan can just negate that sniper rifle and try and get it for themselves, but Rammyy takes down Royal 2, rips off his face.
SnakeBite will get the trade. 2v2 on the map for a moment. Triton will get another one, double kill. He cleared out his side of the map. Now they can begin to press forward. Let's try this again for Cloud9. With no pesky overextenders on the side of FaZe Clan in the shape and form of Renegade. He's over towards Sword. He's gotten the first pick. As Cloud9 again held at the 50-yard line.
Interestingly, Cloud9 really recognizing how important that drop ball is as well. Prioritizing it, getting it so that they can maybe just get those extra shots and extra shields down towards long haul. Rocket's going to be coming up in 5, but FaZe Clan are in a position to push ahead of it and make sure they grab it for themselves. And not only that, but a flag is going to be on the move.
SnakeBite pushes forward, throws down some grenades to the nice spawns. Long-range rocket finds a home, connects with Rammyy. Right in the quiffy, got a double kill for the general. As Rocket hits towards the front court, doesn't need to hit him, doesn't need to get the kill as it presses him backwards. Triton's got the overshield, and SnakeBite's got the force push as Triton gets sent back and Royal 2's on hand. The bag and tag, FaZe Clan take the lead.
Perfect repulsor used from SnakeBite just stops the overshield player from being able to see the flag, and also repulsing him right into a teammate for the assassination. And now they take control again with only 6 minutes 20. Let's go FaZe Clan, starting to echo around the arena. And Cloud9, maybe if they hear it, they maybe need some fans on their side as well. They're down by 1, but still plenty of time to work with.
6:05 on the clock to be exact. That's how much time Cloud9 have. But again, forced into the all too familiar position of having to play the aggressor once more. And SnakeBite down runway. Look at the hunt for the sniper. He sees it's been picked up and whisked away. He knows there's a player around him. Triton, not comfortable in his surroundings. Throws down a couple of grenades. Just to deny SnakeBite the lift for now. Rammyy will face him. It's going to be a perfect bait and switch here between Triton and Rammyy to clear out the snake.
Yeah, and that's so important that Triton and Rammyy do work together to get rid of SnakeBite, because you know what SnakeBite wanted to do there, right? He wanted to get that sniper and probably toss it off the map if he didn't escape with it himself, just to make sure there's only going to be one on the map, and it's going to be that is in Renegade's hands. But now instead, C9 have a sniper to work with as well. Renegade trying to scope out to see if he can find a cheeky Triton somewhere. But now FaZe are going to be more than happy to sit on their own tower for a little bit and ask Cloud9 the question of what have you got left? Have you got any more pushes? If you do not have anything that's going to be successfully getting through long haul, Renegade is going to be there waiting with the snipe.
FaZe Clan happy just to take the sting out of the game for now. Renegade hesitant to push forward too much. He's not too aware of what's around him. Sceptify is going to face him up. Renegade hits the headshot. Sceptify lands the grenade. It's a trade. That's all it's good for. All 4 dead for Cloud9, and FaZe Clan push forward once more.
It's a great defense again from FaZe, and look, they're not too keen on overextending here, on getting to the other side of the base. They're more than happy to sit at 2-1 for now. Unless they were to get an all 4 dead whilst they had the likes of Rockets and Overshield, for example, they're going to be happy with 2-1. But they are in a position to grab these Rockets and potentially the Overshield. Nemassist is going to be the only player to maybe stop them from grabbing that Ovi.
Nemassist, the furthest player forward for Cloud9 here. Renegade's got Rockets, and he's on the hunt. Lands 1. Rammyy goes down and joins him. Double kill for Renegade. Nemassist has that overshield, But will he come face to face with SnakeBite once more? Triton takes the fight, and somehow Renegade comes out on top, and Royal 2's jiving all the way home. 3-1 will be the score, and a celebratory lap for Royal 2.
As easy as that for FaZe Clan. And they're going to be more than happy to get the victory here. That's going to wrap it up between these two teams. The 3 flags is all you need as Renegade focused as they get back on top here in this series.
What a performance. What a series we've had so far. Cloud9 have been more than competitive, but they found themselves in situations, in integral parts of that game, coming out lesser than.
It's just how FaZe Clan manage the game and how they plan themselves around the Overshield and the Rockets. Like, they get the kills, they have the chance to push up and take space, but they say, no, let's wait. We've got Rockets coming up in like 10 seconds. All we have to do is be a little bit more patient, and then suddenly we have all the tools we need to get the easiest flag run of our lives. I want to go back to that starting strat, though, from FaZe, because that was unbelievable. SnakeBite jumps up on the ledge, is waiting for Royal 2 to hit that shot. He trusts him. Royal 2 does connect, baits out perfectly, and it was executed so well.
SnakeBite sitting on that ledge, just looking at his watch, saying he's going to kill someone in 3, 2, 1, bang. Royal 2 finds the home, takes the player down, and scoops up a free set of rockets. You thought it was a misplay. You thought FaZe had just given him up for free, and all of a sudden, the rocket player's face comes off. Yeah,
it was a great strategy from FaZe, and I'm sure that it'll be a little bit of a frustrating one from Cloud9, because had they used those rockets to better effect, they might have been able to get a flag cap. I mean, it's one of those situations, but something I do know is that FaZe now find themselves 1 map away from being in the winners' final. Cloud9 are going to have to come back and try and fight as they might. We will probably return to Livefire, if I remember correctly, here in map number 4. And Livefire has looked good so far for Cloud9. It's going to be King of the Hill, so it's another game that just likes to be slow and steady. And you can pick apart a team, you can plan your attack, you can plan your defense, but at certain periods of the game, it can get very quick, very fast-paced, very messy.
King of the Hill on Livefire, game number 4. But confirmation of what we've seen. Oddball Streets, 2-0. FaZe Clan, 50-38. Slayer Livefire for Cloud9. And what was just on our screens, textbook from FaZe Clan, 3-1 CTF Empyrean. In what we said, not in this tournament, but typically has been a lesser game type for them, a weaker game type for them, but they have found the answers against Cloud9, and Cloud9 unable to put together the sort of pressure they needed to take home the game. I'm
still not sure anyone's really nailed down King of the Hill 100% just yet. I think it's one of those ones that people are still left scratching their head at times. Should we be prioritizing the OV? Should we be going for the Hill? It's all of this fine little dance. Should we be getting that sniper rifle? Questions that are still yet to be found by some squads. There are a couple who are starting to get their way with things, though, and have started to increase their statistics and percentage chance of winning at tournaments. For Cloud9, it's a must-win if they want to stay in the winners bracket, but for FaZe Clan, a victory here will find them in the top 3.
FaZe Clan, 1 game away from winners finals. Is it to be here and now? Will they find the victory against Cloud9, who have been the underdogs almost all tournament long? David versus Goliath, here and now. Royal 2 on big door. Nemassist hits some big shots and lights up the Canadian.
Well, I talk about, you know, the age-old question of do you prioritize OV or do you go for the Hill? Cloud9 got the kills, they got the Hill, and now they say, okay, well, we move over and then we prioritize the Overshield. But FaZe Clan are already there and waiting, and it looks like they're going to be able to grab that OV because 3 go down for C9. It was a good attempt at trying to make sure they secured it, but it just doesn't work out for them.
You're saying it's hills, kills, and overshields.
That's what it is. That could be a book, a film, and maybe a musical.
Overshield, over top middle then. Nemassist face-to-face with the player, but Sceptify puts an elbow to the spine, shuts that player down. Body shot for Renegade. The pressure comes. What can Rammyy do? Face-to-face with Renegade. Jiggle peek, Sceptify comes, textbook. Fundamentals from Cloud9.
I mean, considering Cloud9 have not been a team for particularly long, you wouldn't notice it at times. The chemistry is very evident, and they are playing out of their skins in this tournament. And the fact they are even able to take FaZe Clan toe-to-toe like this is so impressive, and I think they're going to be delighted with how they performed so far. I think the map 1 was just a little bit of an outlier in this series, but it seems like they're going to be right up there with FaZe Clan here in the early stages of Livefire King of the Hill. But now Renegade gets to get a little bit of time here. Cloud9 on spawn need to try and gather together and need to think, do we wait for this Overshield or do we start to think about the Hill?
Already well over halfway, securing hill number 1. Renegade has been left all alone. Defend for himself, continue scoring as his teammates push out and tend to things elsewhere. Renegade face to face with 2 members of Cloud9. He goes down. 2 members down for FaZe Clan. SnakeBite answers back to even the odds. He's got 2 members to contend with over towards green. Needs help from Royal 2. Or indeed Frosty. Assault rifle in hand. Rails Nemassist. Teammate on hand. Royal 2 will get that kill. The help will arrive. But Cloud9 have already eaten away that lead.
But FaZe were able to pick up the overshield because Cloud9 just left it, and because of it, FaZe Clan will get the hill. And that's one of the decisions you have to make for Cloud9. Do you just give up that hill anyway? Because otherwise it just ends up happening with exactly the same scenario where you give up the point. Maybe you would have a better opportunity if you would wait that extra second, those extra 14 to get the OV, as now Frosty not only has extra shields, but also has a heat wave to work with.
Double jeopardy for Cloud9. They lose the point and they lose the overshield. It was the worst of both worlds. Rammyy, though, face to face on pillars. Frosty tries to connect with the heat wave. Does so unsuccessfully to get the kill. Sniper rifle will pop up and Rammyy steps out, scoops it up, fires one towards Royal 2, gets shot from down the hidey hole from SnakeBite. You're going to need more than St. Patrick to clear out that snake.
I do feel like any King of the Hill game is usually going to benefit those who have been together a little bit longer. A nice 360 for Renegade as he looks to try and double up. Cloud9 down to just 1 player. But FaZe are going to be far more well-practiced when it comes here to King of the Hill live fire, whereas Cloud9, it's a lot about breaking setups on King of the Hill and also initiating those setups yourself. And if you don't have a plan B, a plan C, you can very easily get sniffed out, and it looks like FaZe are very close to making this 2-0.
The perfect hill, almost. They completely shut out Cloud9, and they go 2 to the good. 2-1 up in the series, 2-0 up in the game. And with one hand, with 1 foot, inside winners finals now. Barring a Cloud9 roar back to life. Overshield about to pop up. And again, Frosty with the sniper rifle. Connects. Cloud9 desperately need these players to start missing some shots. Desperately need to start shutting down the likes of Frosty, getting the overshields. But again, time and time, it's FaZe Clan in the ascendancy.
Yeah, Cloud9 haven't really been able to escape like they did in the Slayer games. Instead, a couple of them have been found out on their own. FaZe have been able to expose a few players trying to flank around and get into a position to do some damage. As now Renegade should be able to do a lot of damage here with the Bandit. Nemassist does shut him down. But all the meanwhile, FaZe were able to put themselves in a position for this next overshield.
There's something so beautiful watching the Bandit rifle go to work and out shooting someone. SnakeBite locks on sandbags. Nemassist goes down. Currently at the moment, Sceptify struggling in the slaying department. 2, 6, and 9. They need more from him if they're going to get back in this thing. It's been far too comfortable for FaZe Clan on Hills 2. And indeed, looks as though it could be the same on 3. But here comes the push, here comes the boom. What has Sceptify got? Nothing in the tank. Both members go down with relative ease.
FaZe just seem to know exactly where Cloud9 are going to be coming from and just have eyes trained on it every single time. Grenades waiting to be able to do that damage, and Cloud9 just don't have that answer. They've not been able to generate any sort of form. They've not been able to get the sniper. They finally get their hands on a heat wave, but even Nemassist gets taken down with it and gives it away. So now the defense is going to be even stronger here for FaZe.
FaZe Clan just have the read every single time. Rammyy and Nemassist go down once more. SnakeBite's looking to come back and chomp and chew on some more. Sceptify tries to jiggle peek on the pillar. Both down to no shields. Frosty's on hand to try and bait and switch. SnakeBite gets the kill. Sceptify is still in big trouble. Down go 2 members of Cloud9, make it 3.
Yeah, FaZe just start scoring again, and this should be 3-0. Cloud9 have to give this one up. Have to now go for the reverse sweep here on King of the Hill. And there's so much to do. Overshield is going to be up in 4, and the hill's going to be there. Cloud9 don't look like they're in a position to grab it. Renegade should be able to be the one who gets it.
Yep.
Not only does he get the OV, but also he's going to get a lot of hill time here, as this might be the beginning of the end for Cloud9 to win his bracket run.
Renegade holding out 2 members of Cloud9 bottom middle. Sceptify will challenge over towards sandbags, and Nemassist over towards screens here. 2 members positioned, taking the fight. Renegade continues to hold the ground, continues to stand still and take on all members of Cloud9. Dipsy doodling his way, finally taken down, but look how much progress he's already got.
One last push for Cloud9, but again, it's shut down. It's SnakeBite who gets the final kills, and maybe the final little bit of hill time could be from the General too.
The final nail in the coffin then perhaps. Do Cloud9 have anything? No, they don't. FaZe Clan secure the victory. 3-1 here, and they're heading to winners finals.
Top 3 guaranteed for FaZe. Job done. Another day at the office for them. A little bit of a slip up in the Slayer, but they responded so effectively in games number 3 and 4. As for Cloud9, a very impressive performance. Considering they came all the way from that open bracket, they are still guaranteed top 6 as they drop down to the elimination bracket, where they will be able to play for top 4 down there tomorrow.
That was a beautiful game on King of the Hill. 4-0. They absolutely dominated from start to finish. You have to say, you called it perfectly. They were willing to give up a little bit of time at the start to get that overshield, and it paid dividends.
Yeah, I think it's something that teams still really struggle about, whether it should be objective or whether it should be overshield, and sometimes you have to see that overshield as an objective at times because it can reward you with so much hill time and sometimes even a whole hill point. But you have to take your hats off to Cloud9. They still made FaZe really work for it. Considering FaZe are the reigning champions of HCS Dallas, our #1 seed coming into this tournament, I'm very impressed with what Cloud9 were able to do.